Supergirl, one of the DC movies of all time.
Man, it really just is unfortunate.
So if you watched Superman, I would hold and temper your expectations for this one, because I wouldn't say it's as good.
Yeah, and I mean, Superman was pretty good. I think we all thought it was pretty good when we saw it. So had some fun with it and everything. But it's almost like none of what made that movie good was in this one.
It's a boring movie.
See, what I thought this movie was gonna be, right, is maybe slightly worse written than Superman, but significantly funnier.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't either. It wasn't funnier, and it wasn't better written.
It's just very dull, very bland, honestly. And it hits doubly hard for me because the comic book this is based on is one of my favorite comic books of all time. And this just doesn't adapt basically any of it. And which is still stupid because a big selling point when they first pitched this movie was that it was going to adapt this comic book. So you think that it would be faithful, They have the actual writer of the comic book as one of the architects for this new DC universe. And that would make me think that, hey, they were going to attempt to do a faithful adaptation of this comic book. And they didn't. They took just some plot points from it and then did their own thing with it. And their own thing with it was just not good.
This movie does one thing to try to move the plot along, because if they didn't do that one thing, there's no point in the movie. I feel like this movie is filler until we wait till the next big movie, so they put in Supergirl.
Yeah, that's a good point, because from beginning to end, without spoiling anything, I mean, really nothing happens. You can actually just skip this movie, and actually there is one thing that happens that has nothing to do with the plot of the movie. And it's backstory for Supergirl, and technically for Superman too, since it's on Krypton. Mm-hmm. Literally the most interesting part of the movie.
Yeah, that whole Krypton scene is probably the best part of the movie.
And it has nothing to do with the plot.
It has nothing to do with the plot. I mean, I guess a little bit in terms of what's motivating Kara to do the things that she's doing, I guess. But even then, it's very minor, the role that it plays in the actual plot of this movie, which I guess we could get into now if you want to describe it.
Yeah, sure. Spoilers ahead. If you want to watch this movie, because you're a DC fan, go ahead, but you're not missing much if you don't. So basically the movie involves Crypto gets poisoned, right? And Supergirl has to save him by getting an antidote. It's one of those MacGuffin.
Yeah, it's like a MacGuffin.
It's a MacGuffin movie, in a way.
I was thinking about this when I was watching it, but it's basically kind of like John Wick, where her dog gets he doesn't die in this, but he gets hurt and she's basically out to get revenge. So it's Kara, Supergirl trying to get revenge and getting the antidote to fix Crypto, and then it's Ruthie, the other main character of this movie, trying to get revenge because Krem, the main villain of the movie, killed her family. So, we have the whole revenge thing going on.
The thing is, that plot has been done so many times already, too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And this didn't really shake it up.
That's part of what, I think the comic book does better, is that, whereas in this movie, it focuses on Supergirl as the main character. In the comic book, you get Ruthie as a main character. She's the character, she's narrating the whole story, essentially. And you get to see her grow up, and then Supergirl's kind of just a supporting character that she sees as this, I guess, beacon of hope, kind of how she is supposed to be. But this movie doesn't do that, because we're focusing on Kara, and we have to focus on her because we haven't met her before this, other than the brief cameo at the end of Superman. So it's already kind of fighting an uphill battle in that respect.
What it sounds like to me is that they just shouldn't have picked that storyline to adapt, because this is the second DC movie in this universe. We kind of need some more development going around.
Yeah, for sure, because the story in the comic book definitely works better as this is already an established universe. You've already known at least somewhat of what these characters have been doing, so it works better in that respect. And whereas here we don't know Supergirl at all. Like I said, other than that scene at the end of Superman, so you don't really get that much.
That scene at the end of Superman was a pretty good pretense of what we get in this movie. So in my opinion, maybe I'm just used to having her adapted one kind of way, like in the animated shows that I watch with her, but she's so bitchy. And I get why. We get some backstory, and, you know, unlike Superman, who never got to see his planet and never got to see the fate of his people, so he kind of grew up a little safer than her. I understand why she's so upset and loathsome all the time, and that backstory kind of opens that up with actually have to watch like the rest of her people die. So I understand, but I'd like to see a happier Supergirl, and maybe there's room for that, especially like, you know, later on in the story, but it kind of just turns me off from the character.
And, you know, it's possible that this movie was meant to be character development, but I didn't even really get the vibe that she changed all that much.
No, there wasn't any character
She really
development.
doesn't. In the comic book, she does start out acting like she does in this movie at first. Like the first like 2 issues maybe she acts like that. But after that, she goes back to acting, you know, like kind of the more traditional Supergirl that we know of. And in this movie, you don't get that. It really isn't until the end when she actually puts on a costume that I guess she starts acting a little bit different. Not by much. I don't know. There's really not that much character development here, I don't think.
You know, you had mentioned to me that Lobo wasn't in the comic.
Yeah,
he's in this movie, and you could tell why.
It's comic relief. He's here for comic relief, which, you know, it's pretty good. Lobo was pretty good in this movie.
Yeah,
you know.
literally the only good thing about the movie was Lobo. 80% of the comedy came from Lobo, though. Of the good comedy, I should say. Lobo was so underpowered in this movie.
Oh yeah, he's OP.
Which is crazy because they do describe him accurately, like, you know, an immortal being who killed off his race, but like I guess you don't really see that.
Bro gets taken to jail.
Yeah,
like
which I guess you could say he wanted to get taken. I don't know.
He could have broken out at any time.
He could have.
I also will mention, you know, we get some scenes with Superman. So Superman returns in this movie.
Oh yeah,
not for long. He's only in flashbacks and at the very end of the movie.
Yeah.
But it's such a refresher from like her attitude. I just don't like this character, and him being nice and being actually, you know, a kind person, just like Superman would, just saves it. Because I'm like, thank God, like we have a Kryptonian who I can actually like bear to listen to.
Dude, speaking of unlikable characters, the little girl,
Ruthie.
Yeah, man. Is she this unlikable in the comic?
No, not really. I mean, she's a young kid in the comic, so she acts like a young kid would. And also, she has a very particular way of speaking in the comic book where it's like... I can understand why they got like a British person to play her, because she does speak in like a sort of elevated, you know, speech sort of way. Like
posh.
very posh, very like Shakespearean kind of. But like her acting was just so wooden to me in this movie. I don't know how you guys felt about it.
I didn't
care for her.
I didn't care for her. She was kind of just another obstacle for Supergirl.
Yeah.
Like they needed yet another reason for this movie to move forward, and it was her. One thing we didn't mention, the soundtrack is okay at best. The theme song, I guess it's supposed to be Supergirl's theme. I can't even tell you
what the melody is.
What the melody is. I can't tell you how it goes. It's not memorable.
Dude, in the topic of the soundtrack, actually, there's a scene at the end where they play a song, like it's a needle drop, you know how like when they'll have like an action scene, they'll play a song over it. This might actually be one of the worst.
I know. And you know what?
Ever.
Like, I gotta admit, it's in typical James Gunn fashion to keep doing these scenes.
But like, James Gunn didn't have anything to do with this. So like, I guess other than the fact that he's the guy running the universe, right?
Yeah.
He's like the
He
Kevin
probably
Feige.
told them, like, hey, you know, I really like when I put like old music on a fight scene. Can you do that for me?
Well, that's funny because this movie felt like a wannabe Guardians movie.
It does.
Except it's not good.
It doesn't have any of the charm that the Guardians movies have. It's just so disappointing because it could have been so much better than it was.
The last fight scene, like choreography wise, and it was good. There was a fight scene towards like the beginning of the movie where they're on a bus. It's so freaking bad to me, man. Like the like villains like run into each other, but they're not like running at full speed. It's like a jog, and I'm like, how did you let that happen to yourself? It's just so I don't know. And this movie, I think it's trying to tell people that you can always be better. And that was like one thing that kept repeating, like, you can be good. Supergirl's not good. As a matter of fact, unlike Superman, she kills people, and she kills the villain at the end of the movie for the girl. So the girl doesn't even get her revenge. She's like, no, don't take revenge. It's kind of like that trope where it's like, no, if you kill him, you'll be just like him.
Yeah.
Or it won't make
I
you
do
feel
hate that
better.
trope.
It's such an overused
Although,
trope.
I am kind of glad that Supergirl killed the guy at the end,
Yeah.
because if not, it would have been like, bro, you just killed like 200 henchmen. What
Yeah.
do you mean?
But
Yeah.
the thing is, Ruthie's killing like people too. So what makes killing him different?
Ruthie isn't really killing anybody.
I think
in
she
the
killed
movie.
like one guy, right?
Did
Maybe
she?
I'm wrong.
I mean, I don't really remember. Maybe she did, but I don't think it was like a direct kill, you know. But
But yeah, some of these things
yeah.
you could argue,
Yeah.
oh, they did it to
Oh
themselves.
yeah, like you know,
but-
they fell like trying to get her, so technically they was themselves killing. Yeah, but
I was so taken out of some of the movie that maybe I forgot if she did or not. But if she did,
Yeah.
it's like, what makes this kill so different?
yeah, thematically you could say that Supergirl is basically protecting her. Like, listen, you don't have to do the bad thing. I'll do them for you. Like, I'm already kind of fucked up. I'll be the one to take on that burden, right? You could argue that. I don't think the movie does a good job of showing that,
You know, in
but you
our,
could argue it. You know,
in one of our last reviews, The Death of Robin Hood,
Mhm.
I argue that it actually did that trope a lot better.
I would agree. Yeah.
How this movie ended was so cheesy and a little cringe, to be honest.
It was.
What, the whole thing with Superman at the end?
Yeah, like they just awkwardly stare at each other, and then Superman's like, "Oh no, that's chocolate." You can't
yeah,
eat
yeah.
chocolate."
That was a
Yeah,
little weird though.
crypto.
And yeah, it's
Bro,
like
that's
they were. I guess they were trying to have like a nice moment, like a family moment between Superman and
they
Supergirl.
were like, "How
but,
do
like,
we end this?"
But
movie?"
like, yeah, it does
How
just kind
do
of
we
feel
end
like, damn, we forgot to write an ending.
I think one thing that did stand out about the ending is like he told her welcome home. In the movie, they don't really spend a lot of time with her really coming to appreciate living on Earth.
If anything, that seemed like one of the plot points of the movie was to get her to start living on Earth more. And I feel like, if anything, the movie should have been more concentrated on that if they were gonna pitch that as one of the plot points.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, I guess to wrap it up, like I said, it fails as an adaptation of a comic book. It kind of fails at being a continuation of this new cinematic universe. It already kind of makes me seriously doubt how good like the rest of this stuff is gonna
Oh,
be.
DC is cooked.
Yeah.
we've got Clayface, man.
Look, I just, which is like,
DC
why?
is not back.
Yeah. I'm still excited for the next Superman movie, Man of Tomorrow, but
I am
like,
too.
but like anything else, I am seriously doubting how good it's gonna be from there on out.
I think the real test, in my opinion, is gonna be the new Batman movie. If that movie fails, I've lost all faith in this universe, and DC just messed up again. Is the way I see it.
Well, at least we'll always have Absolute Batman.
Oh man, make an absolute. This movie would be better if it was named Absolute Batman and didn't have any of the cast.